Alright folks, once again it's time for a BeanSmash Recap. This time it's for July 8th, 2024, our tournament this past week. Got a couple of updates for you, got a lot to cover in this recap. Before I start, I do want to mention there was some chatter in the comms this week about a news bulletin. There's some allegations of draft interference. Those will not be covered in this BeanSmash recap. You'll have to wait and see those in a special bulletin from the BeanSmash studios in downtown Jefferson City, Tennessee, at a later time once we've finished prettying that little video up. But for now, let's get into the dirty details from July 8th. All right. The results of our Smashdown. Lucas Rosenbaum, perennial victor, 9 wins this past week. 1 with Incineroar, Pac-Man, Dark Samus, Little Mac, Piranha Plant, Pokemon Trainer, Ice Climbers, Greninja, and Simon in a max length Smashdown tournament that dragged on well into the evening, almost making me miss my curfew getting home. Aaron with a respectable 7 wins, Ben with 4, and Brendan with nada. Again, allegations of draft interference that could have impacted play. Who's to say? We'll just have to find out more at 11. This week we've got, I don't have a slide dedicated to characters with multiple wins because we got so many of them now. After 4 weeks of play, we've got a whole bunch of characters who have won a couple times. We only have 6 who have won 3 times in 4 weeks. That's Lucas, Pac-Man, Incineroar, Pyra and Mithra, Joker, and Min Min. So these are our 3-win characters. We don't have a slide about characters with multiple wins, but we'll track them this way going forward. I think it's important to recognize early on who's got the goods. But now let's go to some statistics. Wins by player, totaling up Lucas at 31 wins over 4 weeks, Aaron at 25, Ben at 13, Brendan with 6. That score differential just getting bigger and bigger, consistently reinforcing. I mean, pretty much week to week, it's been pretty stable. Although I guess not stable in my case. Mercurial, you would call me. I only win every other month, right? Count of wins per draft round. This chart looks a lot like it did last time. Again, sort of reinforcing a pattern here. We've got in the first 2 rounds of drafting, characters drafted first and second win a lot. We've got 6 wins by top draft picks and 7 by second round draft picks. We also have 7 wins by 10th and 13th round draft picks. The big characters picked at the beginning of the draft win, and characters picked right at like the halfway mark win. It's kind of weird. Make what you will of that. Now let's get into my favorite chart. I love this one because it's so fun and it looks prettier every week when we add new colors. So this is the draft round of winning characters, and we're starting to see some interesting distributions towards the front and back of this chart. But we'll leave those for just a minute because, most importantly, the curse has been lifted. Ice Climbers, played by Lucas in the very first match of play this past week, won their match. They were drafted in round 20 of the draft and won the first game of the week. That means that we have now had at least 1 character who has been drafted in every round of the draft has won at least once. So, curse is lifted. Good game, Ice Climbers. Good game, Lucas. And now I want to turn your attention to a couple of interesting distributions on this chart. So, stacked up at the front, we have characters that are primo draft picks that also win, right? These are characters who have, especially the ones that have won multiple times and consistently get drafted early. So I've just assembled a short list here. Kirby, Min Min, Pikachu, Lucas, and Mewtwo, all of whom have won at least twice, and for their multiple wins have been drafted at the beginning of the draft. So these are your, you know, primo top banana draft picks, right? I'm just winging this as I go along. You know, I don't got a script. And then on the other side of the chart, we looked at these last week a little bit too. It's really interesting. We get this this nice even trend line as these characters drafted throughout most of the draft rounds have only won once or twice, and then we've got this weird concentration of late picks who win a bunch. We've got which I have termed sleepers, right? So the top sleeper is still Pac-Man. That dude has won 3 weeks in a row, and he's never been drafted earlier than the 10th round. So you can get him. You can definitely get him later in the draft, and somebody can win with him. I bet you it's Lucas. Pac-Man, Incineroar, Zelda, Greninja, and Terry are my sleeper picks this week. They've had an impressive run, and we'll see who picks them up next time. All right, this next slide, boy am I excited to tell you about this. It's a little bit busy, so let's get into it. So I have, through great concentrated power of will, figured out a way to use our match history with the Microsoft TrueSkill ranking system. And for those of you who don't know what TrueSkill is, it's the thing that decides in like Halo and Forza how good at the game you are, and therefore who you should be match made with. So we know it's not perfect. But yes, it is a ranking system for Xbox Live, developed at Microsoft Research, licensed out to lots of different game developers. It uses the final standings of all teams in a match to update the skill estimates, which it calls ranks, of all players in the match. So it uses that. There's these two values that I've got in this little red bubble here. Mu. This value represents the average skill of the gamer, so this is your rank, right? Whatever your Mu score is. And then the sigma is the standard deviations. This is how certain, or rather how uncertain we are in your rank. So a lower standard deviation indicates greater certainty in the Mu score. Limitations with this. So this ranking system does support free-for-all style games. Ranking systems like ELO, which you also may be familiar with, only support like essentially team versus team or 1v1 matchups. But a system like TrueSkill is supportive of any kind of style of matchup. So, but the trick is the data that I've been able to feed this ranking system for us is leveraging free-for-all games, right? 1v1 v1v1, but just with win-loss binary outcomes, so I don't have a rank, right? So the system knows in a given game that Lucas won and everybody else lost, but they don't know who came in second, third, or fourth, which would be valuable for us to have to get more out of this ranking system. But I'm already doing, or trying to do more than I am actually good at doing in terms of capturing this data as we play, so we'd have to get creative with how to get those scores. The other limitation we have is a small player pool. It's just the four of us. We're playing against each other every match. So the model that we're training here doesn't have, Lucas can't go play against some other high-level pro for the ranking system to really get a good idea of how much better he is at this game than the rest of us. Or more accurately, it doesn't seem to quite get how much worse I am than everybody else. So the difference in the rank in the Mu score, you'll see, isn't going to be extremely high in terms of like numeric difference, but I did think it did a pretty good job of understanding where we fall on the list, and it's not surprising. I'll just go ahead and show it to you. So over here, and I'll try to like move out of the way, I guess. Am I moving the right way? Not really sure. I may not even be popping into the bottom of the screen like I am on my screen when you go to watch this video. Production value, super falling off for this stuff, right? In the initial ranking box, you can see the scores that I input after much deliberation and much consultation from the TrueScale documentation. I wound up putting Aaron and Lucas at the start as essentially even in terms of initial ranking, with a Moose score of 30 and a standard deviation of 6. Ben, I put at 20 with a deviation of 7, and myself I put at 10. So basically putting Aaron and Lucas on par, Ben roughly somewhat worse, and me the worst of all. Sorry, Ben. It's just what I observed. And then I trained it on our past 77 games that I have data for. So the updated ranking, you can see it has basically pulled us all closer together in terms of the Moo score. So we still have Lucas as the highest score by almost a full point, which is kind of a big deal in TrueScale. Aaron coming in after him, then Ben, then me, and myself by over a full point lower than Ben. So that seems about right based on how much data we fed it. Lucas's score should, if the trend continues and Lucas keeps dominating, his score will continue to go up, mine will continue to go down. And it'll be Aaron and Ben in the middle of the pack trying to distance themselves from each other as much as possible. You do see, though, that the Sigma score for all 4 of us has gone down from like a full integer, like, from between 6 and 9 to less than 1. So the model at this point is very certain that it has a pretty good idea after 77 games of how we play. So that's legit. This was fun. I spent an embarrassing amount of time monkeying around with a Python library to get this to work the way I thought it ought to be. But interested in your feedback. Does anybody give a rat's rear end about this score? Is there anything else stupid you'd like me to try and put into one of these videos? Because gosh golly, it was a lot of fun. And yeah, gosh, I guess that's it. We'll wrap it up for now. It was a lot of fun playing with you guys on Monday. Stay tuned for a special bulletin from BeanSmash Studios commenting on the allegations of draft interference. And prepare yourselves also for a virtual draft next time we meet. I am stress testing the draft board. I will bring appropriate technological equipment. The board is much more performant with an actual PC instead of a stupid iPad and a cloud version of the file. So, it'll be fun. But till next time I see you, deuces.